Before we start, this video comes with a trigger warning. It speaks about themes of sexual abuse and child sexual abuse. So if this is something that you can find it hard to listen, please stop this video now. Hello, this is George, a counselor and psychotherapist. Welcome to Unspoken. In this channel, I talk about men's mental health, fatherhood, grief and loss, and religious trauma. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. So, if you're still here, also be warned that there are minor spoilers about Silent Hill 2. I have stated many times that Silent Hill 2 it's not just a horror game. It's a psychological map of how unprocessed trauma shapes our experience of the world. While James Sutherland's story takes the spotlight, the characters of Angela Orosco and Eddie Dombrowski offer powerful reflections on what it means to live with pain that never finds a voice. Their journeys are tragic and disturbing, not because they face monsters, but because they cannot escape what those monsters represent. In many ways, they never really leave the town. For anyone working through grief, shame, abuse, or anger, especially those who feel trapped by silence and isolation, Angela's and Eddie's stories are heartbreakingly familiar. Angela's story is possibly the most complex in the history of NPC, non-playable characters for the unconverted. And I believe she deserves a lot more attention, which I will give to her in another video. Angela enters Silent Hill looking for her mother, but she's also fleeing a life marked by sexual abuse and betrayal. Her father and brother abused her. Her mother didn't protect her. In the absence of support, Angela internalizes the blame. Even Mama said it. I deserved what happened. Her sins in the game feel like walking through someone's private hell. The burning staircase, the monster called Abstract Daddy, the vacant stare. Angela is drowning inside the shame that keeps looming back on itself. She's stuck in the belief that what happened to her was her fault, and when you believe that, healing feels impossible. From a therapist's lens, Angela represents someone carrying trauma too painful to name, too dangerous to remember. Her pain isolates her. Her voice is quiet, and her resignation is chilling. When she said, "You see it too, don't you? For me, it's always like this." It's as if the fire around her is more real than any hope. Angela's story speaks to anyone who has endured abuse. Abusers and their enablers will always make us believe it was our fault, and we believe them. If pain is who you are, how do you imagine anything else? What makes Angela's journey especially tragic is her deep longing for connection beneath the despair. Her search for her mother suggests she still craves some form of love or recognition, but every encounter reinforces her belief that she is unwanted and unworthy. The world she moves through is distorted, hostile, and burning, a reflection of how unrelenting trauma reshapes our perception of reality. The fact that she continues to walk through it is a sign of endurance, even if she no longer believes in escape. Angela's behavior isn't traumatic or erratic, it's muted, tired, and detached. That emotional numbness is common in those who have lived with prolonged abuse. It's a survival strategy, a way of staying alive without feeling the full weight of what can be endured. But it also leaves her cut off from any potential lifeline. Eddie's trauma is different, but no less devastating. He's been mocked, bullied, and humiliated for years. He was bullied from being overweight. His sensitivity is ridiculed. That hurt festers and turns into rage. He kills a dog. He shoots a man. He doesn't arrive in Silent Hill looking for answers. He arrives angry and armed. In Eddie, we see how shame can mutate into violence when there is no place to put the pain. He doesn't want to be weak, he wants to be feared. His final confrontation with James is laced with defensiveness. You think it's okay to kill people? You need help, James. But Eddie is not just a villain. He's a portrait of what happens when someone's suffering is ignored until it erupts. His loneliness is profound. He doesn't think anyone sees him as human. His humor is brittle, and like Angela, he is stuck. Trapped in a story where pain is all there is, and lashing out is the only way to be seen. Eddie's arc shows us how anger can become the only emotion left when everything else is shut down. When crying feels unsafe or shameful, rage becomes a mask. But rage without reflection becomes a loop. And like Eddie, you end up hurting yourself just to feel in control. There is also a sad irony in Eddie's downward spiral. He desperately wants to be accepted, but the more he lashes out, the more isolated he becomes. He sees threats everywhere and finds justification for violence in every perceived slight. Silent Hill doesn't give him peace. It amplifies his fear and loathing until all that remains is rage. His descent shows how untreated emotional wounds can twist a person's world into a battlefield. There are moments in Eddie's arc where you sense he isn't fully gone, where a part of him still longs for understanding, but he is drowning in a sea of hostility and ridicule. No one offered him a way to express pain without punishment. No one gave him a language for what he felt, so he speaks through violence. Silent Hill draws people in who are running from something inside themselves. It doesn't haunt its visitors. It reflects their eternal world. Angela sees a world on fire. Eddie finds a place where violence feels justified. The town shows them what they most fear and what they believe they deserve. Neither of them gets out, not because they are weak, but because they are alone. There is no one to hold the story, to help them rewrite it. In real life, that's what therapy can be. A space where the pain gets witnessed, where the story shifts from I deserved this to I survived this. Angela's and Eddie's stories offer two paths many people walk alone. The path of shame and the path of anger. Both lead to isolation. Both keep you stuck. And both are especially familiar in the lives of those who were taught not to feel, not to speak, not to need. Silent Hill 2 shows us what happens when pain is buried, but it also hints at something else. What could change if we dare to tell the truth, even in whispers? There is a path through the fog. It begins when we name what hurts us, when we stop believing we deserved it, and when we reach out for something more. Eddie and Angela didn't have the chance, but you do.